April 1912. The new century anticipated and promised achievement and peace. The great powers and the world they had made were at peace. Minor regional clashes between minor and faraway statelets were beneath the notice of the House of Commons and the United States Congress, which were engaged in domestic and budgetary politics.
We were sailing along on moonlight bay. We could hear the voices ringing. They seemed to say, "You have stolen my heart, now don't go away." Just as we sang love's old sweet song on moonlight bay.
Science and the arts had reached new heights and saw no limit to their advance. The world was there for the taking. The SS Titanic, with His Majesty's mails aboard, and thus with pride RMS Titanic on this her maiden voyage, left Southampton bound for New York. Aboard her were a captain of great reputation and skill, the latest thing in Marconi wireless equipment and operators, the great and the good, the rich and the notable, the poor and the aspiring immigrating to the New World, and some 2,200 souls. Not listed in her manifest was the cargo she most notably carried, a cargo of fate and unintended consequences. Titanic sailed to her fate and sailed into legend. She also sailed into the law books.
It was on a Monday morning about 10 o'clock. The great Titanic began to reel and rock. The people began to cry, saying, "Lord, they're going to die." It was sad when that great ship went down.
The loss of Titanic was seen as the nemesis that waits upon hubris, as God's judgment on man's pride, as a just and condign punishment for class distinctions, inequality, and even racism.
Yeah, 1912. Blind Lemon and myself, we used to do this. And I'm going to say something about Jack Johnson on that, but you people won't get offended.
Her sinking a century ago has left behind a flotsam of story, from the carefully historical to the frankly novelistic.
It was a midnight on the sea, the band is playing, "You're my God today." Found the Titanic fairly well. It was a midnight on the sea, the band is playing, "You're my God today." Found the Titanic fairly well.
This is not another recital of the tale of the sinking of Titanic. This is the story of what came after. Immediately word of the disaster reached shore, rival inquiries were set up by the rising and the fading powers of the English-speaking world, the United States and the United Kingdom. Senator William Alden Smith, Republican of Michigan, knew railways and Great Lakes shipping as an owner, railroad lawyer, and director, and had campaigned long and hard for passenger safety on the rails and against J.P. Morgan, whose trusts owned by a Byzantine series of deals the White Star Line. John Bigham, Q.C., by now Lord Mersey, but recently retired from the bench, knew the law of admiralty and the Liverpool shipping interest by heart. Brusque, imperious, and acute, he was charged with conducting the Board of Trade inquiry into the loss of Titanic. She had been owned ultimately by J.P. Morgan. She had been built in Belfast, and in 1912 any remotely Irish question was politically toxic, poisonous to the touch.
This is the great Titanic. On one Sunday morning, just about 1 o'clock, this great Titanic boat began to reel and rock. People on board began to cry, say, my Lord, I'm bound to die. Wasn't it sad when the great ship went down? Ship was leaving England, pulling for the shore. Richie declared they would not ride with the poor. Put the poor below, they the first ones had to go. Wasn't that sad when the great ship went down?
Her loss implicated the Marconi Company in its methods and business practices. Lord Mersey did not know, no one at the inquiry did save the guilty, that the Liberal cabinet, including the Chancellor, David Lloyd George, the Treasurer of the Liberal Party and Chief Whip, and the Attorney General, Sir Rufus Isaacs, who was appearing before Lord Mersey in the inquiry, were implicated in insider trading in Marconi shares. No one foresaw that the Marconi scandal would break by the end of that summer. Mr. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr. did not foresee that in 1914 he would deliver a landmark opinion regarding limited liability arising from the sinking of Titanic. Lord Mersey did not contemplate that he should spend his retirement years reforming international law on maritime safety and sharing inquiries into shipping losses. No one foresaw that in April 1912. And Lord Mersey was the first to foresee, and Senator Smith the first to discover, that 2 years before the Great War, and 5 before America came into that war, which is so often regarded as marking the United States' emergence as a great power, the U.S. Congress could use U.S. commercial muscle to impose Congress's political will upon the world economy. America came of age in 1912. This, then, is the story of the legal and political repercussions of the loss of RMS Titanic, stripped of myth and the seductions of drama. It is the story of backroom deals, political secrets, compromise, and skullduggery. In April 2012, on the centenary of the sinking of Titanic, this story shall be told by G.M.W. Weems, chronicler of the days in May 1940 when, as Hitler prepared to invade France, the House of Commons cast down Chamberlain and set Churchill in his place, and Markham Shaw Pyle, historian of how, 4 months before Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Congress in 1941 kept the draft and saved the nation by 1 vote and by accident. Bapton Books presents When That Great Ship Went Down, the legal and political repercussions of the loss of RMS Titanic, coming in April 2012.